What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, Season 7, Episode 11. Let's start off with Usman and Kimberly. So in the last episode, Usman and his family had just dropped the bomb on Kimberly that Usman's mother has a specific house girl who is waiting to meet Usman. And this is the woman that the mother wants him to potentially marry and to also to potentially be the mother of Usman's children. So when Kim finds out that there is like a real woman that the family has picked out to marry Usman, she's like, nope, that's not going to happen. Not while I'm in Nigeria, not on my watch. She was really adamant that Usman not meet this woman. So here we are in the next episode. And guess what, y'all? Usman's on his way to meet the house girl. So Kim is really worried that Usman might actually like her. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, we would hope that he would like her. This could be the mother of his children. So we want him to like her. And I just don't see Usman as the kind of guy that would just hop into bed with a woman that he really didn't care for. Okay, let's move on. So she's feeling very insecure about Usman possibly falling in love with this other woman. Kimberly's worried that this woman is probably going to be younger, most likely, most definitely, yes. And that she's also probably going to be a whole lot prettier. Well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You'll have to ask Usman that. So she has all of these insecurities that are just bubbling up inside of her. So Usman still wants to convince his poor mother to allow Kimberly to be his first wife. And I am so sick and tired of them showing up at this woman's house, dragging her to some restaurant, constantly begging her to accept what they want to do when the woman has been very clear to them about what she's expecting and what she wants and what she will agree to. The house girl has to be the first wife, point blank, period. After that, you can do whatever the hell you want with whoever you want. But the first wife has to be to the house girl. And I'm like, can y'all please leave this woman alone and stop trying to badger her to agree with y'all's shenanigans? So Kim thinks that if she allows Usman to go meet up with this house girl, then it's going to show his mother that she really loves her son, that she really loves Usman, and that she's accepting this part of his culture. And, she would be in the mother's good graces, and maybe the mother then will change her mind and allow her to be the first wife or whatever, to give her blessings to be the first wife. So she's got something planned. She has a surprise plan for Usman. And in order to get her surprise ready, she sends him out of the room and tells him that she wants to talk to her son in private so that she can get her surprise together. And before he walks out, she tells him, or she demands him to give her a kiss. And I'm just like, Kim, do you have any idea? Have you ever thought to yourself how you come across to the public when you're constantly begging this man to kiss you, to hold your hand, to sleep with you? Don't you understand how absolutely desperate you are? And at the same time, you talk about how you deserve better, you deserve more, you shouldn't be putting up with Usman's shenanigans, but then here you are begging him for a kiss, begging him to sleep with you. It's just like, Kim, there's nobody in your corner to let you know how absolutely desperate you look. Anyways, moving on. So her surprise is she plans to propose to him. So we know before she even left California that she was going to be doing this. So she has 2 rings in case one doesn't fit. And she brought all of her decorations with her. She brought streamers and banners and rose petals and candles. I mean, I was like, damn, girl, how many suitcases did you pack? So she decorates the room. And for the time that she had, she did a pretty damn good job in decorating that damn room. Rose petals everywhere, streamers, everything. It was really cute. So he comes in and he's looking around. And he's like, what the hell is going on here? She sits him down on the couch next to her. She goes through her whole entire spiel about their relationship, what they've been through, the ups and downs, but they're still together, etc. And he must have known what was coming, because why would she go through the trouble of decorating the room just to have a conversation? So he must have had an idea of what was coming. So she gets down on her 52-year-old knees and proposes to this man. I know those knees were crack-a-lacking. So she proposes to him and puts the ring on his finger. And these are his words. After she says, will you marry me? This is what he says to her. He says, if marrying you will make you happy in this life, then yes. Usman, why couldn't you just say yes, give her a little cute yes and leave it at that? You got to go into this whole explanation. If this is what's going to make you happy, then yes. Like, why? Is it going to make you happy, Usman? Did you talk about how happy this is making you? So he accepts her proposal, and obviously she's really happy about that. I just Kim is a different she's a different breed of woman, because there's a lot of things that Kim does that I would not be caught dead doing. Proposing to a man, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't care what the situation is or what people believe about gender roles and patriarchy, and I don't give a damn. I am not proposing to no damn man to marry me, and I'm especially not getting on my 44-year-old knees to propose to someone. I'll never get back up. So because this is also something that he says because she had put so much effort into the proposal, the decorations and all of that, I guess he felt obligated to accept her proposal. Now he's going to have to buy her a ring. So Kim tells him that he needs to do whatever it takes to convince his mother to make her the first wife. Usman says in his confessional, well, if this doesn't work, then Kim was just going to have to accept being the second wife. And I realize that Usman says this a lot. He'll tell her, oh, you're going to be the first. So I'm going to tell my mom, we're going to try again. We're going to keep trying to convince my mom to make you the first wife, or to give her blessings for you to be the first wife. But then in his confessional, he's like, well, if my mom doesn't accept it, she's just going to have to be the second wife, and she's just going to have to deal with it. Like, what? Okay. Anyways, so the next day he gets dressed, puts on his, Sunday best to go meet this Hausa girl. And, he puts on his outfit, and he has the audacity to ask her, how do I look? Are you serious, Usman? You're going to ask this woman who's so desperate for just a scintilla of your love? You're going to ask her, how do you look, when you're on your way to go meet another woman that you are definitely going to be sleeping with, because you're supposed to have children with her? So she says, well, this is like a slap in the face to me, after all that I went through last night with the decorations and the proposal, pouring my heart out to you, getting down on my knees, getting my knees cracking, and I go through all of this, and here you are, looking at me, asking me, how do I think you look in your outfit as you go to meet another woman? But Kim, you knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. First of all, Kim, you've always known that there was going to be another wife. Now that there's a placing order in wives, yeah, you're a little bit hurt about the fact that you may not be the first wife, but you've always known that this day was going to come. So while he's away, meeting the potential first wife, she gets on her phone and she calls her son Jamal, and she gets her son caught up in all that's been going on in Nigeria with Usman. And her son, I have to say, not only is he, cute as a button, but he is just so respectful, polite, intelligent, because I also watched their little segments on, Pillow Talk, and she did a great job in raising that boy. He is so just very well mannered. He's so caring, he's so loving, he's so concerned. But then there's also something about him, like if it came down to it, he wouldn't mind like protecting his mother or protecting whoever, or protecting, like he's a gentleman, he's sweet, he's a sweetheart, he's adorable, but that he's also a real man, and that he's going to protect what's his. So she tells her son about what's been going on and the proposal, and of course he was really disappointed that his mother had to propose to Usman. And he tells his mother, so what was the point in working so hard to get his mother's blessings if y'all were just going to go ahead and do what the hell y'all wanted anyway? And he points out that this is sort of deceptive to Usman's mother. It shows how deceptive she is. It shows how deceptive he is, because he promised that he was going to obey his mother. And he kept on telling Kimberly how, he's always going to do what his mother tells him. But then he accepts this proposal behind his mother's back. And I understand where the son was coming from, but I think the mother was just more concerned about the actual marriage part. The mother doesn't want them to get married before he marries a Hausa girl. I don't think the mom really gives a damn about, the engagement. So once again, Kimberly, when you feel like she could not have gotten when you feel like she could not have gotten any lower, she has. From the begging of the sex and the begging of the affection and, going all out for him, spending all her money on him. Now she got down on her knees and proposed to him. And I'm just like, girl, it cannot get any worse than this. Moving on to Michael and Angela. So Michael and Angela, I guess they just got done fighting. They must have, because that's all they do, right? So this is when I guess Angela has stormed off. She went somewhere else in the hotel, and Michael's wandering around like a lost puppy, and he runs into Renee. So him and Renee get to talking, and Renee suggests to Michael that maybe you should take down your Instagram. If your wife means that much to you and you really do love her, maybe you should just go ahead and take down your damn Instagram to save your marriage. He talks about how he just can't do that. And then Angela, shows up. So she shows up, she sits down, and she can't leave Nigeria. The next flight isn't until 2 days. So she's got another 2 days in Nigeria, and the verbal abuse begins. She starts yelling at him, berating him, talking about how, he's scamming her, using her, etc. Angela said that Michael had promised to take down his Instagram, but he only did it just to sleep with her, because right after they did the deed, he refused to take down his Instagram. So she feels used. Okay. The only thing that makes sense with these people is for them to break up, for them to not deal with each other anymore. That's the only thing that makes any kind of sense. To talk about Michael and Angela and to try to talk about it sensibly, it's really, really difficult because they act so nonsensical. And what they do doesn't make any sense. All they ever do and all they've ever done is argue and argue. And then they do things purposely to piss off the other person. And it's like, it's hard to talk about this in a decent way when the things that are happening are just so completely indecent. Anyways, let me try. So Michael apologizes to her for lying, saying that he was going to take down his Instagram when he really wasn't. So he apologizes to her for lying, but he denies flirting with other women on Instagram. And Angela says that she has proof that that is not true. So she had a really good friend dig around in his Instagram, and the friend took some screenshots of Michael communicating with some other woman. And so the screenshot that they showed is him referring to this other woman as his person. Excuse me. He says something like, "Oh, thank you, my person," or whatever he said, and refers to her as my person. So, of course, in American culture, when you say someone is your person, you're basically saying that's the person that is meant for me. That is, that's my love, my soulmate. That's my person. That's my guy or my girl. But Michael says that this is just Nigerian slang. I don't believe Michael. I kind of don't believe Michael. Well, let me take that back. Oh, so the sentence said something like, "Okay, thank you, my person." Okay, yeah, it could be Nigerian slang. It could be Nigerian slang. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if it's Nigerian slang, but it's Michael slang. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't believe that it's exactly Nigerian slang, but it could definitely be Michael slang. That's how he refers to his friends, like saying, "Oh, thank you, my people. My people are here, my people." And because he's only talking to one person, instead of using the plural, he used the singular as in "thank you, my person," or whatever he said. So I don't think that there was anything behind that comment. I don't think he was referring to his soulmate. I think that that's his way of talking to people. Angela calls him a scam, an opportunist or whatever. In her confessional, she says, "I keep taking him back, and this is the reason why he doesn't change." So she thinks that if she leaves him for good, then he might change. But then you won't be with him anymore. So how would you know? So Angela tells him that she's going to be divorcing him. And Michael says that if I take down my Instagram, Angela, we are still going to have problems. And then Angela says to him, "The only problem is you." And she called him a bitch. And Michael says that he really wants his marriage to work out. He wants to stay with Angela. He doesn't want to leave Angela. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I think that Michael is an opportunist. I think he wants to stick it through with Angela because he wants to come to the United States. And then he's going to do what Pedro did, and I don't know, countless of other people. He's going to try to find an exit plan. He's going to try to get out of the relationship. So that's what I think. That's my personal opinion. I think that he is just using Angela. I think Michael has enough sense to know. I think Michael has never seen it for him and Angela. I think he's played the game and played the game and played the game with her because he really just wants to come to the United States. I cannot imagine anybody with any kind of sense wanting to stay in this abusive relationship. This is an extremely abusive relationship. And I can only imagine when they're back on her turf, on her grounds, in her country, if he does anything to piss her off, I can only imagine what she could do to this person. So I don't think that... I don't think that these two people need to spend one more second together, because for the past, I don't know how many years, all they've ever done is fight. Moving on to Jovi and Yara. So they are apartment hunting, and Jovi's pissed. Jovi is pissed off because he says, I did not come to Europe to be chauffeuring, driving Yara and her mother around to look for apartments. That's not why I came to Europe, and that's not how I want to spend my time here. So the first apartment that they go to, it is undersized and overpriced, and she can't afford it. It's too expensive, and it's just way too small. And Jovi's happy. He's like gleeful that this did not work out. The mom wants Yara to still buy an apartment in the Czech Republic, because the mother wants her to have her own property just in case it doesn't work out between her and Jovi. So the mother's been constantly talking to her about having a backup plan, I'm assuming, right? So back at the hotel, Jovi says, as they're entering the hotel, Jovi says, well, that was a complete total waste of our time, and I'm going to go hang out at the bar. And Yara says, of course you are. So Jovi seems to be having I don't know, a drinking problem possibly, because he likes his alcohol. Jovi likes his alcohol. Okay. So while she's upstairs in the room and he's downstairs in the lobby drinking his beer, he calls his mother, and he tells his mother that they went to go look for apartments for Yara because Yara wants to buy an apartment in Europe. And this is what the mother has always told Jovi, that I'm pretty sure Yara is going to want to stay in Europe. And Jovi didn't believe it until he saw it with his own eyes. So as he's talking to his mom, he doesn't cry, but you can tell that he was fighting back tears or trying to fight back emotion, telling his mother that, Yara possibly wants to stay in Europe. Jovi says, then Yara then he goes back upstairs. He goes upstairs to talk to Yara, and he blames everything on her mother, saying that her mother is putting these ideas in her head to get this apartment in Europe. And Jovi says, you're letting your mom influence you. And then Yara says, no, I'm not. But then in her confessional, she says, my mom made me realize I need to have my own space. But she had just said that her mother was not influencing her. So her mother's been telling her, in case things don't work out, you need to have your own property. So Yara says that she tells Jovi that if anything happens to us, if we're no longer together, I don't want you to take everything from me. And he says, I wouldn't take everything from you. And she's like, well, I don't know that, because my dad, when my parents divorced, my dad took everything from my mom, and my mom had nothing. And so then he says, well, in the United States, there's laws that protect that from happening. But Yara wants to live in a country where there are no laws protecting her and what's hers, or whatever the hell. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. Her excuse of I need to have my own property, my own apartment, or whatever, in case anything happens to us. I want to have something for myself. I don't want you to take everything and leave me destitute. I don't buy that. I do not buy that. I think she is over living in the United States, especially New Orleans, and she wants to go back to Europe. I think that's her plan. I think in the beginning, she wanted to give America a try with Jovi. She doesn't like it. She ended up not liking it. And so now she wants to go back to her home country, point blank, period. And then with what's going on in her home country. Well, not live in her home country because there's a war there, but live in the Czech Republic where she can be close to her family that are still in the Ukraine. And so I think that because of what's been going on in the Ukraine, she does want to be closer to her mother. She does want to be closer to her family. And the situation in the Ukraine is just solidifying her decision to want to go back to Europe. I think her using that would have been a better excuse than her saying, I have to have my own apartment in the Czech Republic in case you leave me. That just doesn't make any sense, because Jovi asked her, have I shown you signs that I'm going to be leaving you? She comes up with these really bizarre scenarios of him, taking everything from her, leaving her poor, destitute, and hungry. So she has to have this apartment in Europe. Jovi once again, puts all the blame on Olga, her mother, for making Yara believe these things. Yara was already believing these things, and so when her mother mentioned them, it just made it a whole lot easier for her to act on it. Maybe before she was afraid to act on it, but now she has no problems acting on it. But I think with Yara, it's over. I think she's done with Jovi. I have a feeling that she's over Jovi, his drinking. Like she says, he's constantly going to strip clubs. He's still doing that after they got married. He's still going to strip clubs like without her. Because if he is, Yara's over it. She is absolutely over it. She's over him being gone for weeks at a time for his job. And she's left home by herself. She has no friends, nothing going on. And then her talking about how she needs her mom to help her with the baby. That baby, as far as we can see from what they've shown us, that baby is absolutely the most mild-tempered, sweetest little thing that I've ever seen. And her constant need of, I need help with the baby. I need help with the baby. What are you talking about, Yara? You don't have a job that's like demanding where you have to like go clock in a factory and work hours at a time away from your child. You work from home. You do social media, and you're on a television show where they come to your home to film. You don't even have to go to a set to film. They come to your home to film. All this stuff about you need help with the baby, girl. Girl, please. You acting like you got 10 kids running around. You only have one sweet little girl, and you're acting like it's just too much for you and you just need your mother's help. Anyways, moving on to Bilal and Shaida. So Shaida's social security card, I guess, and her work permit came in. And so she cannot wait to start her yoga studio. So, of course, Bilal rains on her parade about that. And he starts lecturing her about how hard it is to start a business in America. You're going to need to have marketing because nobody knows about your yoga studio. You're also going to have good credit, etc. Like anything this woman wants to do, Bilal always has to just stomp all over her dreams. And I'm like, whatever happened to inspiring your partner, motivating them? Helping them facilitate their dreams and aspirations. Why can't you do that, Bilal? Damn, the girl just wants a yoga studio. And you're making it seem like she wants to start this superly complicated, multi-million-dollar business. She wants a little yoga studio. She wants the women to come in and the men do their little stretches and then call it a day. That's all she wants, a yoga studio, Bilal. Stop making it look like it's absolutely impossible. Anybody can start up a damn yoga studio. So Shaida tells him that she still wants to look at potential property for her studio. He says, well, just don't get your hopes up. Why can't she get her hopes up, Bilal? What else has she got going on over there in your immaculate museum-like cold home? What else does she have going on over there? Why can't she get excited about her damn yoga studio? She understands that it's not going to be opening tomorrow. She gets that. You're going to have to find the property. You're going to have to get a lease. You're going to have to... She gets that. She's not stupid. Would you marry a stupid woman, Bilal? Anywho, so in her confessional, Shaida says that Bilal doesn't want me to have a baby. He doesn't want me to have a yoga studio. What does he want me to do? Stay home and clean the house all day? Yes. Yes, girl. That's exactly what he wants you to do. He wants you to pick up every speck of dust. He wants you to make sure that everything is in its rightful place. He wants you to be the curator to his museum of a house. That's what he wants you to do. so that when he comes home, everything is perfect. So, Bilal thinks that it's too early to start the yoga business, but at least it's going to keep her mind off the damn baby. So he arranges for her to meet with two of his co-workers, two other real estate agents, Mimi and whatever the other one's name is. He wants her to meet with them so that they can look at some property for her yoga studio. And he thinks that this is going to keep her occupied and keep her mind off of babies. But little did he know that they were going to spend like, one hot minute talking about the yoga studio. And then the rest of their time, they were talking about babies. So they were asking her all these questions about when do you want to have a baby? Why isn't Bilal on board? So baby. Bilal doesn't want a baby, but I want a baby. If it was me, I'd have a baby yesterday. All they talked about was damn babies for the majority of the time. If only Bilal knew that that's what was really going on over there. My God. Bilal, let that woman dream and help her and motivate her. Good grief. I mean, this is the worst. Bilal is like so irritating to me because he gave her false hope and false pretenses. She married this man under false pretenses. And I think if she wanted to annul this marriage, she probably could, because of the fact that he gave her the impression that he was going to want to have children with her. He gave her the impression that he was going to help her start a yoga studio. Now, those two things, he's the one blocking them from happening. He's blocking them from happening. And he promised her that these were going to happen. And she's got proof that he promised her that, because this is what's written in their damn prenuptial agreement. If she was ever done with him, like, of course, within the time frame of having an annulment, you can't wait 20 years. But if she was ever done with him, she's got perfect cause for an annulment. If she wanted just to leave this marriage and go back to Trinidad or go do her own thing or do whatever, she's got perfect cause for an annulment, because, I mean, he's doing the old switcheroo on her, making her think that, okay, you're going to marry me and I'm going to give you this kind of life. So then she says yes and marries him. And now it's something completely different. That really aggravates the hell out of me. Moving on to Andre and Libby. So they want to do a pregnancy announcement in the Grand Canyon with their fathers only. Libby has gotten so brainwashed by Andre. I am totally convinced that, first of all, he definitely is emotionally abusive to her, verbally abusive as well. And I think he has gotten her completely brainwashed, because the way that she agrees to his wackadoodle ideas is beyond me. It made sense to her to announce, to personally announce their second pregnancy to their dads, leave everybody else completely out of it, and have everybody else find out when the rest of the world finds out. This man has really convinced you that your mom and your sisters don't deserve a face-to-face announcement of your second pregnancy. You have let this man convince you of this, Libby. This makes sense to you. Anyway, so they're making signs. I jumped ahead of myself. Let's rewind. So they're making the signs for the pregnancy announcement, right? And even making a simple sign, these people got into a heated argument, and he was yelling at her and he was cursing, and she tries to yell back at him, I guess, to show that there isn't like a power, like an imbalance of power in their marriage. So she tries to make it look like that they have equal footing, like he yells at her and she yells back. And she thinks that this is showing the world that, look, I'm not the one that's being abused because we're yelling at each other. He's not more dominant than me because, I give it right back to him. But Libby, no. There is an imbalance of power. This man has you under his control. You are under his control, because everything he wants, he gets. You follow, and then you try to make it look like you would have agreed to it anyway. Like you try to make it look like, oh, I was thinking the same thing too. But no, you're being brainwashed. So they argue about making the damn signs, because however he wrote, whatever he wrote, she felt like he didn't write it correctly. So he starts yelling at her, telling her it's no big deal. Y'all are just doing arts and crafts. And y'all are getting into an argument about arts and crafts? Putting some black words on a white poster board? Y'all are like yelling at each other over that? That makes sense to you, Libby? Anywho, so it's the day of the departure. She has an obvious bump. Luckily, dads don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, because that bump, I saw that bump a mile away, and his father had no idea that she was pregnant. So I guess she keeps it covered up. And I wonder if that's why she didn't go to her mom's celebration, because she didn't want her bump to show. But maybe it really was because she was just trying to spite her family. So she wants to her and Andre want to go to the Grand Canyon, take their fathers with them, and do the announcement at the Grand Canyon. So they go there, and they set up everything the way they want to set it up, and they're standing close to the damn edge. And even though there's a fence there, my nerves were on 10 to see how close they were to the edge, even though there was a fence. Because, like, what if that's the day that the fence was defective? I was like a jumble of nerves just watching that scene. So Andre, Libby, and the baby, they all line up. They hold up the signs, and the signs are written both in English and in Romanian. So for Estevan, I think his name is, for Andre's father to also be able to read and understand. So they hold up the sign, and poor Chuck, he has no idea what the hell's going on. He's trying to read the sign, but he's like reading the English and the Romanian at the same damn time. It's not making any sense to him. It took him like 11 years to figure out what the hell the sign said. And so he finally gets it, and he was, shocked and happy, and it was a huge celebration, and everybody was happy and excited. And the two dads feel very honored that Libby and Andre told them first. And then Libby tells her dad, okay, so I'm going to put the announcement on my social media that we're having a baby. And Chuck was like, are you sure about that, Libby, that you want your mom and your sisters to find out through social media with everybody else instead of you telling them directly? And Libby's excuse is that because her mom and her sisters, and her brother too, have been so disagreeable to Andre and not getting along with Andre, she feels justified in not telling them face to face. Obviously, Andre feels justified in not telling them face to face because he thinks that they reported him to immigration. Libby says it's because, because Andre and the rest of my family are not getting along, I don't think I should tell them face to face. Girl, Andre can come and go. Your mom and your siblings will always be your family. And you want to burn that bridge for Andre? So Chuck obviously did not agree with that. He felt like that she should have told the rest of the family, face to face. And it's done. She already posted it. It's already out there. What can you do? But Libby, I'm going to need you to think really hard about the decisions that you're making with your family. Because when Andre is long gone, what are you going to do? You're going to go back to your family. You're going to have to crawl back to your family and beg for their forgiveness. Ed and Liz. Disgusting. I have no words. Absolutely disturbing, disgusting, traumatizing. Post-traumatic stress inducing to see Ed walk out naked with no warning. Absolutely no warning. Even though they did put up a little tiny blur, what my eyes did capture was the things nightmares are made out of. A little naked, hairy man walking into the room, who proceeds to get his back hair waxed. And not even waxed correctly. When I tell you this show is going to drive me into therapy, let's just end it here. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please subscribe. And once I am recovered, I will definitely talk to you later.